Hello and welcome to the NEC ahead of the Lancaster Insurance Classic Motor Show here in Birmingham. I'm Jesse Billington, the staff writer at Classic Car Weekly, and well, we've been given the opportunity to give you a quick tour behind the scenes as the entire show sets up, hence the high vis. And I'm standing in front of my first pick of the show, this absolutely fabulous Porsche Carrera GT, wailing V10 engine. It was a break from the mould for Porsche and, well, it is just astonishing.
I'm David Simister, I'm the editor of Classic Car Weekly, and the Carrera GT isn't the only car on the Porsche Club stand which has caught our attention. This is a 911 GT3, but it's not the only, it's not just any old 911 GT3. This is the chassis 194, it's the original UK press car, the car that appeared in a lot of the motoring magazines at the time. I remember reading about it 25 years ago. This is the car that put the water-cooled 996 on the map. Well worth having a look. It's a stunning example and it'll be in Hall 1 tomorrow.
Hi, I'm James. I'm the managing editor of Classic Car Weekly and I am at the Jaguar Drivers Club at the moment, where we have the very first E-Type Series 1 3.8 litre built in 1961, sat right next to the last one ever made, the Series 3 1974 Jaguar E-Type. Last one ever built.
We're on the Daimler and Lancaster Owners Club stand, and this must be one of the oldest cars at the show, if not the oldest. One of the oldest cars I've ever seen at any NEC show. This is an 1897 Daimler Grafton Phaeton, and it's on loan here from the Daimler Jaguar Heritage Trust. Fascinating story behind it. This has been on the original London to Brighton runs over a century ago, but it's also been 7,000 pieces up in the Alps as well. And it is stunning. This has been really well maintained by the manufacturer's technicians. Well worth a look around, and it's a glorious salute to Britain's motoring heritage, one of the oldest British surviving cars.
And here we are at Iconic Auctions. I'm standing next to two fantastic looking Ford RS200s, both estimated at around the 200,000 mark, so, you know, pocket change. But this one in particular is very interesting. It's only covered 1,600 miles, which makes it super unique. Now the big question here is, would you keep it garaged or would you drive it? For me, you know, I'm hurtling towards 50, I'd get behind the wheel and I'd enjoy another 40 years of driving this. I think it's fantastic. So if you're over here, get over to Iconic Auctions and have a look around.
We're at the front of the Iconic Auctioneer's lot area collection, and I've spotted this rather lovely 1970 TVR Tuscan. It is slightly unusual because it is the long wheelbase, but you still get that fantastic Ford V8 power unit at the front. I'm questioning as to whether or not the long wheelbase tidies up the rather snappy handling characteristics, but that's for the buyer to find out. £100,000 spent on a rebuild and, well, estimated at £60,000 to £80,000. That poses quite a bargain of sorts.
So we're still in the show's auction, and this is a Ford Capri, as you can see, but not just any old Ford Capri. This is, as you can see, it's stunning. It's a lime glaze example, 1600 Mark 1, and just look at it, it is fabulous. This one has had a nut and bolt resto, and that's why it's estimated at 28 to 32k, which might seem like a strong price, but when you think about what a Capri would cost to bring back to this condition, I think this is going to attract a lot of interest. This is a really, really nice example, really solid survivor. And the thing is with these Capris, 6-pot Capris, the V6s, we've seen a lot of those making strong money over the last few years. This might only have the little 1600, but actually I think with the condition, this is perfect for showing off at events next year. I think this is going to be one to watch at the auction this weekend. So another car you might have seen in Classic Car Weekly's pages in the run-up to the show is this Citroen 2CV. It's a very late example. It's a 1992 CV6, and it's estimated at £15,000 to £20,000. And you might think, well, crumbs, that's quite a lot for a Suzuki V6, but this isn't just a one-owner example. This particular car has 557 miles on the clock from new. And the reason why that is the original owner bought this car as a 21st birthday present for his daughter. The thing was, she was only 6 at the time, so this car has been sat pretty much unused its entire life. And it's only now that this one owner example has come to market. Where else are you going to find a 2CV that has delivery mileage? It's a brand new car, it's fabulous. I think this is going to do really well. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this does on the day, so keep an eye on this in Iconic Auctioneers in Hall 2.
We're over in Hall 3 at the Pride of Ownership stand, and well, I found this absolutely fantastic MG Midget. It's a rubber bumper, it's a 1500, and obviously I'm biased in the reasons why I chose it. However, unlike my MG, it's very different in a few important ways. One, the colour, it's red, mine's yellow. Two, it's a different year. And three, it works, mine still doesn't. However, this car is more important than that because it has a fantastic story of lost and refound love attached to it. So if you're heading over Hall 3, Pride of Ownership stand, come and have a look at this absolutely fantastic MG Midget and read about the story that's attached to it, because it's quite heartwarming, really. And well, I wish the paint on mine looked quite as good as this.
Regular readers of Classic Car Weekly will know that I've got a bit of a soft spot for minis. I've had two in my time, and neither of them were anything near as good as this example is. This is the Pride of Ownership entrant, proving that you don't have to have a big, expensive classic car to be in Britain's flagship contest for classic car owners. This is a 1988 jet black, and it's owned by Claire Serrell. Her dad Clive, some of you may know, is quite a prominent figure in the land crab scene. He has an Austin 1800. But this is Claire's pride and joy. She's had this since she was 12 years old. She's very comprehensively restored it. And I can't find a speck, there's not a speck on this car. There is no rust, there is I can't even find a blemish on this car. It is one of the best minis I've ever seen anywhere. And I think it'll have a very good chance in the Pride of Ownership contest. This is the big part of the show where you can come along. There are 20 cars here and you can vote for your favourite, and I think I know where my vote's going to be going.
And continuing with the Pride of Ownership stand, we are next to something very strange and wonderful here, which is Ed Straw's 1972 ADD Nova, which stands for Automotive Design and Development. This is one of only 5 remaining, and it's the oldest example out there. And Ed hadn't driven it for best part of 36 years, I believe, and it had been sitting in his mum's garage, and during COVID, during lockdown, he decided to get it back on the road again, and was called back to work 4 months later, but the momentum was there to carry on with the restoration, and here it is, sitting here looking absolutely glorious on the Pride of Ownership stand. So come and have a look.
What was Rover's finest hour? In Hall 3 you'll find quite a lot of the Rover clubs all joining together for one big celebration of Longbridge and Solihull heritage. And I think the answer to that question actually could very well be the R8 generation Rover 200. I had one, I loved it, and I think it's a really versatile car that helped power the marque into the 1990s, providing more than a decade's worth of great models. And here we've got, on the 200-400 Owners Club stand, examples of all of them. We've got the 4-door, we've got the 2-door, we have the Estate, we have the Saloon, we have the Cabrio. Next door we've got all the coupes as well, the Tomcats. This, I think, is probably one of the few occasions since the 90s that I've actually seen all of the 200s and 400s together. I think it's well worth coming down here and having a look and immersing yourself in some 90s nostalgia.
Hello and welcome to a new addition to this year's show, the Podcast Lounge. And it's quite right that I'm sitting here already in front of the amassed but ultimately empty audience, because Classic Car Weekly will be taking to the Podcast Lounge at 4 PM on the Friday with our new-ish podcast. It'll be the first time we've ever done it live and the first time we've ever done a more typical podcast format. So wish us luck and come along, support us, listen live or listen online. It'll be YouTube, Spotify, all the usual places. So make sure you subscribe to not miss out. Meanwhile, we better get back on with having a look around the show.
We're on the Vauxhall Victor Owners Club stand, and you've probably seen Vauxhall Victors before, but have you ever seen a Vauxhall Victor ambulance before? This one has never been to the NEC Classic Motor Show before. It was converted in 1966 by Martin Walter, and this is the only one certainly I'm aware of. It's never been restored before. It's a cracking example, and the thing I love most about it, this hump on the roof here, you can put the stretcher in it and you can still use it as an estate car.
And here we are at the Y register. Now, it's unbelievable to think that these classics are now 23 years old, and these minis have aged really well. So much so that even the modern Mini still looks fairly similar to these. This one in particular, this 2001 R50, was saved from the scrap heap just 3 years ago in 2020. And here it is today at the NEC, looking absolutely fabulous. And if you're looking for a fantastic modern classic, these minis are absolutely superb.
We're on the Renault Owners Club stand in Hall 5, and we have 1, 2, 3, 5. 3 generations of Renault 5. We have the first generation, the Super Sank, the second generation, and for the first time I've seen it in the UK, the new reinvented Renault 5 for the EV generation. The first time I saw the new Renault 5 was back at the Geneva Motor Show earlier in the year. I thought it looked fabulous then, I still think it looks fabulous now. But the big question is, do you think the new Renault 5 is a true successor to these wonderful little cars here? Come along to the NEC, have a look at all three in the metal. I think it's very difficult to judge on a video. Have a look at all of the metal. Let us know what you think. We're on the Morris Minor Owners Club stand in Hall 5, and we are celebrating this year the world of Morris Minors. There are classics here with connections to New Zealand, to Canada and to the United States, but I'm particularly impressed with this one here, not just because it's an Andorra registered example, but because this car was actually driven here today from Andorra. I think that might actually be one of the furthest travelled cars at this year's show. Came off the boat this morning apparently, so I think this is well worth a small round of applause, certainly in my books anyway. So one of the questions I always asked at the Classic Motor Show is, what is my favourite car of the show? It's still the setup night, that's why we're still wearing our high-vis jackets, and it's still early days and there's still cars pouring in even now, but I reckon this could very well be in with a shout. This is on the 1100 Club stand in Hall 5. And as you can see, this isn't just any Austin 1100, this is a convertible. It's not even the crafted version, which some of you might be more familiar with. This is a one-off built by Jensen, and the idea was this was a proposal to BMC to make a convertible version of the 1100. That never happened, but it still went on show at the 1967 London Motor Show, and now it's back under the spotlight again. First time this has ever been at the NEC. I think this could well be my favourite car of this year's show.
Hello and welcome to the Jesse Indulgence Hour. We are at the Mustang Owners Club of Great Britain stand, and well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Mustangs lined up on the club stand. Obviously, this year we are celebrating 60 years of Ford Mustang, the most popular pony car to come out of America, and we've got an incredible collection of them. We've obviously got a very early generation one hidden under a lovely cover here, a slightly later first gen in the fastback style, a bit bullety-esque, a bit fast Gone in 60 Seconds-esque, a lovely much later car here as well actually, and we've even got a big convertible Shelby at the back. And then, more interestingly actually, we have one of these, a Mustang 2. You do not see a lot of these in the UK, so that is quite a rare find. It looks like it has simply been dragged out of a barn and dragged here. I'm looking forward to learning the story of this one. Obviously got a lovely convertible Fox body, some of the more 90s and noughties models as well. It is a car that has stood the test of time fantastically, as you can tell by the simply huge array that we've got on the stand. So yeah, plenty to come and have a look at over here. Oh, is that a Mach 1? Plenty to come and have a look at over here. So I keep getting distracted. I'm going to go have a look at that one. It's 5 to 7, and that pretty much brings us to the end of our sneak preview of the Classic Motor Show here at the NEC. And I'm going to quickly wrap it up because I still want to have another sneak look around because there is so much incredible stuff lined up. I've already spotted a few famous faces kicking around, and of course, we've got the Classic Car Weekly podcast on the Friday. We'll be on the live stage across the entire weekend with expert voices on some interesting subjects as well. So if you're coming along, be sure to stop by either of those two locations. And of course, keep an eye on the Classic Car Weekly social media feeds. And as always, subscribe to the paper, or at least pick it up in the local newsagents. We'll have our live coverage from the weekend in next week's issue.